If you want to be a good archaeologist, you've got to get out of the library. This is the Science Fiction Rating System, the podcast that aims to rank every science fiction film from 1 to infinity. Welcome to Phase 2, the next generation of science fiction ratings.
Brand new dawn of science fiction rating system.
The next generation. I am one of your hosts, Sam Draper, and I'm joined, as ever, by Chris Redding.
Hello.
And Alex Humphrey.
Hey there.
I'll ask you both how you are, but I kind of know.
Yeah,
A
good.
bit tired.
Been
podcasted for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Ready for this new way of doing things.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
For this new dawn, we've gone back to the creation of science fiction rating system, where me and Chris debated for a long time whether this film was science fiction. Sadly, it is. And also, it's a film that me and Alex saw even longer ago at release in Toronto, and we lived together.
Yeah.
Let's start there. Alex, you say you've got some notes from that screening.
Yeah. Well, I was keeping a blog while we were in Toronto, which is still around, still on the internet. If you can find it, you can read about all the terrible things Sam did. No, you can read a lot about Sam though. It's interesting, and me obviously. But yeah, I have the blog from the day. So it says Thursday was an important day as Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was out, and me, Sam, and Lee. Shout out to Lee if you're listening.
Hi, Lee.
Decided to go straight to see it at the earliest possible time, which was just after work for me. And then there's some boring stuff about my work, which is, it makes sense if you read the whole blog, but whatever. The film was just as good as I hoped it would be, and not a giant disappointment like a certain trilogy of prequels I shall not anger myself by naming, brackets, damn you, Lucas, damn you. It was a fun-filled, action-packed movie, and although Harrison Ford did look a bit too old to be running around whipping things and fighting Russians, it was still great. We'd all grown up watching Indiana Jones films, and all of us loved the characters and the movie, and we were all happy with the fourth installment. What the fuck was I talking about?
Wow.
I mean, all I can say, reading that back, I was very shocked. But I think I've given myself the answer to why I thought that within this, because I've written about the Star Wars prequels, and I think that if you think that to me, as we talked about when we did Phantom Menace, how awful it was. Definitely personally, how awful those prequels were, how upset I was. If you kind of just go on the level of please don't fuck it up that badly, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull is not that bad on a first viewing, but yes. Okay. But I've watched it again and I disagree with my blog, but yeah.
Before we get into it, Chris, you've not got a blog from that era, I'm guessing, but can you remember what you thought on first watching of Crystal Skull?
I thought it was absolute crap.
You did? Oh, fair enough.
I hate
a more enlightened man than us back then.
What can I ask though? What was your discussion that led you to this being science fiction? Because I think some listeners might be like, "Hey there, guys, Poppins clause. What the hell? Is this sci-fi?"
Well, there's a UFO at the end, isn't there?
So that's it, really. That's all.
Well, it's space aliens. You can't. We tried to work out a way of not including it, basically, didn't we? That's what we were discussing, and
it's kind of got that Prometheus vibe in the kind of aliens helped us create everything, I guess. So
anyway, so we're going to go through it sort of more in detail. Before we do that, though, just give me your rankings of Indiana Jones films, Chris.
Raiders. In fact, it's the order. It's the order.
Yeah, of course, it's the order.
Good, I agree as well. Good.
Yeah.
Just checking, because some people think Last Crusade is better than Temple of Doom.
No, it's a bit gimmicky, isn't it?
Right, so let's get into it. And we're in trouble from the start, really, because there's a CGI gopher, isn't there? Who, I mean, he'd aged terribly, hadn't he? In fact, there's loads of... Isn't there more gophers later on, isn't there? There's a whole bunch of these gophers that show up. And
well, it's the Paramount Mountain turns into a molehill.
And it's sort of an omen for what's gone wrong with it.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit. The clues were right there. The clues were there.
And we go to it's Area 51? Is it Area 51 they're at?
I think that's what it's
supposed to be. So.
It's supposed to be that. And we get the Russians who've kidnapped Indiana Jones. Ray Winston's there. And what's everyone's opinion on Ray Winston?
Terrible.
It's
awful, isn't he?
Awful in this. He's so awful.
Like, do you think that's the direction, or are they telling him to do?
It's just like it's like they're made by kids now. But it's still Steven Spielberg. It's like, oh yeah, do that, Ray. That's great. I love that Cockney accent.
It's strange, isn't it?
I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but it's a pretty paper-thin character, isn't it?
Oh, massively, yeah.
And I mean, I'm assuming they've just gone, okay, well, he always has this kind of foreign bloke hanging around him. It's normally Sylar, isn't it? Is it Sylar? Who's
Salah.
Sorry. So they're kind of like, we need someone foreign in there for a bit of colour, and maybe that is evil.
But if you compare like, the character of Salah, how great he was when you meet the family and things like that, and he's like a properly well-rounded individual, isn't he? Oh my god. So Ray Winston and another a shame really, Cate Blanchett, who I quite like Cate Blanchett, but I mean she's terrible in this, isn't she?
I can't stand her.
You can't stand her in anything.
No, her accents are terrible.
Her accents are terrible.
I think she can be good, but I don't think she's good in this.
Voice is monotone. She does this like really flat like thing. I don't. And she's Botoxed.
Yeah,
it's ruined her face, and it's just terrible.
Yeah. And again, I think it's a very.
Botox. I hope I'm not being unfair, but she isn't. Sorry,
it's a very odd character because the whole setup, isn't it, is that they've. Because normally in Indiana Jones films, you have a little bit at the beginning. It's nothing to do with everything else, but this bit is totally to do with everything else. Yeah. But they're there to. I mean, she's KGB, and she's there after this thing, this mummified corpse,
an alien, yes,
and she's part of Stalin's psychic war division, isn't she? Yeah.
Well, Stalin's dead, so it's like this is like Cold War Russia, which it makes even less sense because obviously, she is. I mean, you've made that mistake because the Russians they're portraying is a very sort of between the wars Russia, isn't it? Like psychic power. I mean, the Nazis
turning up in uniform in the middle of America.
Totally, yeah.
That's not how the Cold War played out.
No. And chasing after a psychic MacGuffin because she likes psychic stuff.
Yeah.
She's basically what's his name out of the first one?
Yes.
What's his name? Herr Klimpf, is it? What's his name?
Yeah. I don't know.
That guy anyway out of the first Indiana Jones.
But he's amazing.
He is amazing. Incredible. Yeah. But she's without the menace and without the reason to be there, but she's there to get this alien back, and they do. But in classic Indy style, he kind of there's a really awful slow whip maneuver he does, isn't there?
Well, see, this is I think this to me very early on you can see there's very early on a problem with this film is revealed because I read about it and Harrison Ford said that he wanted to fight ageism in America by doing this film with this natural hair colour, by looking like an older man, like by portraying the character as the age that they would be. And that's the brave thing, I get that, to try and say that, it's okay being old, it's not that bad. But for some reason, all throughout this scene, it's like Mr. Bean or something. He just trips over, he does that swing, he goes, whoa, and then his bum lands in the Jeep. He kind of, he's on that rocket and his face goes all funny.
Is completely, and it,
he's a joke.
The old stuff was, it's just,
it had weight to it, didn't it?
The ant stuff, the ants.
Well, we'll get to that. I mean, there's a turning point in this film, and I think this action's not great. It's not as bad as it gets. There's no CG. There's a bit of CG. It is all slapstick, but
at the beginning. And also, you get to see that. I mean, that location's interesting. That big box to locate. Where all the boxes are.
Yeah, from the end of the first film again, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cool.
Stash it all. So we go from there. He gets away. He goes to the. I mean, the most interesting set in the film, I think, is the little nuclear town they've built where they're going to test the nuclear stuff. That's a nice thing, isn't it? You don't really see often, like a 50s sort of colourful town. And obviously, the nuke gets set off, and Harrison Ford gets away by hiding in a fridge. Nuke the fridge has become, like Jump the Shark, a byword for a franchise losing its way, perhaps. And it doesn't age well at all, does it?
Yeah. No. As Spielberg said about that, blame me, don't blame George. That was my silly idea. I'm proud of... Oh, hold on. I've got the quote here. I'm proud of that. I'm glad I was able to bring that into popular culture. So that's like... Spielberg basically says he's all right. But then Lucas denied that, saying Spielberg was protecting him. According to Lucas, he had assembled a dossier of research data to convince Spielberg. Lucas stated that his research claimed the odds of survival in the refrigerator are about 50-50. So,
wow.
So basically,
I would love to see George Lucas's research file on,
But so basically, is it that Spielberg feels so sorry for George Lucas?
He does a mock-up of it with a Jar Jar Binks doll in a fridge. and then sets off like a firework and goes, "There's the proof."
Yeah. But, like, I mean, that's credit to Steven Spielberg for being a nice mate, but if it's not his idea, why is he saying, oh, no, that was me, I came up with that?
Well, I think it's because, not to skip ahead, but have you read the quote about the UFO turning up?
No.
And basically, we'll get to it at the end. We'll save that for now. Anyway, yeah, so Lucas's fault.
It's a terrible opening.
They also weave in, like, some of it, like that, the rocket, like, sled thing.
Oh
yes,
weave in multiple things, which I don't know whether they're all happening at that period of time. It's kind of like they've just mashed a load of 50s things together.
Yeah.
Area 51, the nuke testing, that rocket sled thing.
Yeah. It's the kind of nostalgia that led to Back to the Future being good, but done wrong, isn't it? That nostalgia for 50s America.
Yeah. But I think that opening scene is so telling because it also mashes together a lot of things from Indiana Jones films. So, like, there's the horrible gruesomeness of those Russians' faces being burnt off.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, a lot of people's faces get burnt during this film or get destroyed. And it's like they just went, oh, everyone loves that bit in the first one. Let's have loads of people's faces melting. Like, it's a very odd kind of way of making a film. It's almost like a smash hits.
They all do now, isn't it?
Well, yes, this is the problem of of Star Wars. This is the game. I totally agree. I'm not saying this film invented it, but this film is a very heavy kind of.
It's like, let's do the same thing again. It's like, no, think about something new, because when Indiana Jones came out, no one knew anything about Indiana Jones, and it was sold as a new idea. But you can't do that now. There was zero risk.
I think it did invent this. I don't think there's an example before it. I had to look back. I mean, especially like Spielberg, he was kind of on a good run before Indiana Jones. Yeah. Like he did, that War of the Worlds wasn't too bad, was it? He was doing a lot of like dark Munich, things like that,
Yeah.
And it does definitely seem as though this is the turning point where, the end game of this is Ready Player One for Spielberg.
Yeah. It's a horrible opening. It's an absolutely horrible opening to this film. It is. It just is upsetting. I found it actually quite upsetting, to be honest.
So it brings it back slightly when you get back to, obviously, where Indiana Jones teaches. Do you know where that is? Where he's meant to be? What town he's in?
No.
No, normally. I don't know. No. I never really...
Is it Massachusetts, isn't it? It's normally that kind of...
It's a nice looking place, anyway.
Yeah. What, you mean where it's the motorbike thing?
Where his school is?
Where's his university?
I think it's in, like... Boston or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Ivy League kind of thing? Is that area? Yeah. Right, so he's back there, and obviously Denham Elliott's dead, so we get Jim Broadbent, who I think really is doing all he can be expected to do, isn't he, really? Being an English bloke bumbling about. Doesn't get much to do, does he, to be honest?
No, he's all right. He does his best.
Would this film be better if, like Last Crusade, he played a Denham Elliott role and went around the world with Indiana Jones instead of Ray Winston?
Yes.
Do you think?
Would have been a much better film. He's a better actor. He would have been able to, It's funny, actor. During that scene, he says that Dean Charles Stanford, because Indy says, brutal couple of years, everyone's dead. And he says, I quote, we seem to have reached the age where life stops giving us things and starts taking them away. And I've written in huge capitals, talking about the film. Because that's how I feel about this film. It's not giving us anything, it's taking it away.
I think, though, my note is like that. I just put high point. I think this is the best film, like scene of the film, because it looks like the old ones.
Yeah,
they've got a competent replacement for the guy who died.
Yeah,
I think Harrison Ford looks quite good as a teacher. He's aging to that role, obviously.
That's true.
And the setup isn't bad.
And they give a bit of the background about the kind of Red Peril and commies are everywhere and all that. Oh yeah, Brody. There's a few. Yeah,
Brody.
You get the little like desk photos and stuff. But then any goodwill you've got built up comes crashing down when Indiana Jones gets on the train and Sheila Buff turns up.
Mutt.
Which, I mean, he wasn't a leading man then, was he? I mean, now obviously he's an absolute crackpot, isn't he? But this idea that he is a new Indiana Jones is... It's frankly absurd, isn't it?
Were they trying to get him to take over? Were they? Was that the idea? Or?
I'm not sure, because obviously the bit at the end, he goes to pick the hat up, doesn't he? But then Indiana Jones takes it back. But they must have been thinking about another one, mustn't they? With him in a more of a... Because why else put him in there?
I did write down at this point that Indiana Jones always has sidekicks. And he needs sidekicks. I get that.
It's like a short round.
Yes, he's a bit like Short Round. But
Short Round
crap.
was annoying.
He was annoying, yeah.
yeah. But then I was like, what's wrong? So I was thinking, he always has a sidekick, so it's not that he's a sidekick that's a problem. And then I was thinking, it's because he's related to him. Spoilers, he's related to him. And then I thought, no, but Sean Connery worked, and all that wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. So why doesn't this work? I don't know if it's because, I think you're right in that they're not actively saying this is the new Indiana Jones, but by giving him, he's got a knife, not a whip. And he dresses like Marlon Brando, not like an old serial, an old adventurer. They are trying to make look, it's another Indiana. He's supposed to be equal to Indy, not like a kind of annoying. He's not like a comedy relief. He's supposed to be an equal, which is what doesn't work.
Well, but also at this point, he's not got those family ties explicitly there, and he's still just an awful, annoying character, isn't he? Like the whole scene in the diner where they're like going over the plan, and they've got to go meet the Ox.
Yeah.
And they've got to go off and go to prune all this sort of stuff. It's just very wooden. The dialogue's very like awful. His whole like brash sort of, I'm too cool for you, and this kind of thing is terrible.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work, does it? Like there's no chemistry. I think Harrison Ford is trying to hide like a deep-seated hatred of this boy, LaBeouf. Doesn't seem impressed by him, does he, at all?
Well, have you read Shia's comments after the film came out? What he said?
No.
So, at the 2010 Cannes Film Festival, LaBeouf told Los Angeles Times he had dropped the ball on the legacy that people loved and cherished, and felt that the movie could have been updated. It misinterpreted what we were trying to satiate, he said, which is a word that means satisfy. I didn't know that. In 2011, in response to LaBeouf comments, Harrison Ford said, I think I told LaBeouf he was a fucking idiot. As an actor, I think it's my obligation to support the film without making a complete arse of myself. Shia is ambitious, attentive and talented, and he's learnt how to deal with a situation which is very unique and difficult. LaBeouf said he regretted the comments and their effort and the effect on his relationship with Spielberg. He told me there's a time to be a human being and have an opinion, and there's a time to sell cars. It brought me freedom, but it also killed my spirits because this was a dude I looked up to like a sensei. So basically, by being a dick, he basically alienated Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg completely.
So is this the birth of insane LaBeouf then, maybe?
Maybe it was. Maybe he couldn't handle the fallout of this, really.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Transformers where it's just people, like me going, you ruined my childhood. There was a lot of people that liked Transformers and it made a lot of money. But with this, it was a big, big deal.
A little bit of trivia about the diner scene. Do you know who the girl is who punches LaBeouf?
No.
That is Steven Spielberg's daughter. Yeah.
There you go. Getting a revenge on him for later comments, perhaps, slagging it off.
Yeah. So they're off then globe-trotting, as you do.
Yeah. I like the map. They use the map again. That's good. You feel good about that.
Classic map.
Classic map.
It's all a bit tired, isn't it, though, really? And Ray Winston's following him about, and it's all a bit sad. I've kind of got no notes in this because it's just a bit... They're trying to get that whole... It's in, when they go to Venice in Last Crusade, and when he goes to Egypt in Raiders of the Lost Ark, but there's no chemistry, there's no snappy dialogue, there's no...
No, again, it's like a best of, isn't it? They go to a temple, there's some natives who try and fight them.
Didn't they? Like how it was done and...
Yeah,
locations.
Like when they go to that like grave robbing scene, and there's those like guys jumping around with the, the dart things trying to hit them, but there's just no. It just feels tired, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel offensive yet in the way the film gets for me. Like it's still a set. There's still not much CG. It still feels like an 80s film in some ways. Just a tired 80s film.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say about an hour in, I've written here that it is confirmed that it's spacemen. It does kind of at that point with the skull and everything. You are kind of like, okay, this is aliens. It's not. You're not going to get away with it being something else. So it is a bit. It does kind of.
But they're still going with that. Indiana Jones is skeptical of everything, despite the fact he's got no reason to be skeptical, has he? Because it's like they get the skull, don't they? It's a thing he's never a material that can't exist.
Yeah.
That's where it just goes completely. Not Indiana Jones for me. Like,
yeah.
But he's seen some shit. Indiana Jones has seen some shit, hasn't he? He's seen some pretty amazing stuff. But why would aliens be? Oh no, but hold on. The Cup of Christ, an Ark of the Covenant.
But it kind of drops the ball though, because they were all mythical.
Yes, I agree.
Within magic,
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
This completely, it like pops the balloon of what the universe is.
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It was the wrong.
Completely.
It was the wrong thing to go. The wrong artifact to go down, wasn't it? And there isn't. I mean, not to jump ahead, but there isn't enough explanation at the end
Considering
to make it
all
make
there
any
is that
sense.
they could have gone with in the world, and yeah,
Yeah.
It's I mean, it is, as you say, the turning point for the film in a way. Especially, so this is like, for me, up until now, it's a boring Indiana Jones film. I think when Karen Allen appears, and so after this scene, obviously they get catched by the Russians, go back to the Russian camp. You've got John Hurt there as the Ox. Everyone's there basically. He's okay, but then Karen Allen comes out of the tent and. Like, she's not a good actor at all.
No.
She's terrible. There's a reason you don't see her
in
anymore.
the original one. She was just right for what it needed.
She's all right in the original one. I mean, I don't think she's particularly good in it, but she's the role, isn't she?
It was perfect. What she did in the first one, but
her coming back,
they've all aged. It's like Carrie Fisher. I don't think was any good in
totally. Yeah.
new Star Wars ones.
But what happens from her returning is that everyone becomes like just immune to everything and in their own bubble of this is a family drama or a comedy family thing where no one can get hurt. No, there's no consequences. And everything is just complete nonsense. And without a doubt, that's the switch in the film for me. After Karen Allen turns up, right? So straight after that, they escape, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, before that, sorry. There's the bit where they they work out what the Ox is doing. So John Hurt is doing this weird thing in the air, which quite clearly he's just writing, isn't he, with a pen in the air. Indy has the brilliant moment of going like, "Get him some paper," and then. Yeah, and what is it? Kate Blanchett written down. She goes, "Oh, auto writing. I should have seen this." Yeah, you bloody should have seen this. He's just writing with a pen in the air. It's not the biggest mystery.
It's a pen.
Yeah.
And so with that, he works out where they're going to go. But so then Indiana Jones escapes with the whole lot of them, and they fall in some quicksand. And
Oh man, that scene. Yeah.
So they're in mortal peril, aren't they?
Well,
they could possibly die here, you'd think. Only they're arguing about, what happened in the past. They're revealing that Thingy's the son, Shieldbuff's the son, and they're rescued by a like giant expanding snake that takes their weight, and they're pulled out by a rubber snake.
I have written "fuck this film" at this point.
I've got the exact same note in capitals. Fuck
because
this film.
I know what you're saying about her, that she is annoying, but there kind of is a rhythm to the film before this scene where you're like, okay, but things are being taken a bit more seriously. The bit when they hook him up to the skull, and Oxley's kind of an interesting character, and you're a bit more like, oh, we're on a trail, we're discovering where to go, and you kind of feel a bit more like it's an old Indiana Jones. But then this scene of just this rubbish. I mean, like, even children don't find this kind of slapstick. It's like a kind of sitcom, like
totally.
a family, a wacky family sitcom.
It's like
it's just
it's like that Gremlins thing I sent you. Where they're coming up with ideas.
It's
like the brainstorming is got out of control, and it's from here on in the film. Like
Totally.
Yeah.
Because,
and in fact, they're caught when they're in the truck in the next scene, and they're arguing, and the Russian just says, "Oh, for the love of God, shut up!"
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's what everyone watching this film is thinking.
Yeah.
Like, shut up. This isn't.
But also, I
interesting.
mean, that scene, the quicksand scene and the truck scene, that is all it takes for like 30 years of estrangement. Indiana Jones leaving her to raise a son on her own. All this has gone, and they're now back in love, and that's it. That's all it takes. Now we're a perfect happy family. The kid's a bit rebellious, but we're off on an adventure together, and you just don't buy it, do you, at all?
No, because they even bring up the fact that he's had multiple women, and how many women has he left behind, and he just goes, "Oh, but none of them were you," and it's like, but no other film has made even a vague attempt to make you think that she's the one that got away. Not at all. No. And in fact, I read, there's all this stuff about the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, that he's married to someone that has like a teenage daughter or something, or like there's a whole...
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's something else where they have done like them having a kid, but it's a girl. So it's completely wrong for this anyway. So, like, it's not even like it's some, but in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, or in some book somewhere he ends up with her. I think they just made this up out, they plucked it out their arse, basically.
Before we get into like the CG fest of the rest of it, do you think there's a way they could have made this work, like where they bring back Karen Allen and it's not like this?
If she died.
She's dead.
No,
Or
she'd
dies
been
the
in
film.
it, and then he'd been bickering, and it'd all been really funny, and then Kate Blanchett had been like, enough, and slit her throat really graphically, and then she just like bled out in front of Indy, and that was the point where he realised this isn't a game anymore, this is serious. And then the rest of the film was like stone cold serious. It wasn't even like, it was like Taken. He's like on revenge against the
Okie
Russians.
dokie, Dr. Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, short rounds. Yeah, chained. I don't know if she'd maybe been killed, so you felt a bit like there was some kind of drama, maybe. But
Well, I thought of a way you can make it worse.
okay.
Right.
Oh, worse. Oh, God.
Yeah, they get in these vans and they're like doing this nonsense in the vans.
Yeah.
Where they got like this little fight scene and they're all like trying to. Where are they racing to? Are they racing anywhere in particular, or just running away from each other?
Cutting down,
Mad. It's
cutting down
Yeah.
trees, aren't they? Just
and
cutting
then
trees.
and then he's swinging through trees with the monkeys.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
so the
that's-
monkey bit's happening. Also,
Yeah.
before that, a tire rolls across the jeeps and literally crushes a pause bit. It crushes the seats
yeah.
where they're sitting.
Yeah.
You know. So if there's any doubt of the fact they're wearing plot armor, is the fact that in this scene they should all be dead, and
No,
they just laugh
yeah.
it off, and you know.
I think I actually rewound that because it does really go straight over every. They just bend down, don't they?
Yeah,
it
but
is
they should
completely
be crushed.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So the only way it gets worse is that when Sheila Buff starts swinging across the monkey wires, is you hear a shrill voice, and Kate Capshaw from Temple of Doom swings across, moaning and whining about everything as she did in that film, and she joins in, and you've got both of them having that'd be good, wouldn't it? Like a little fight between the three of them.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously she's married to Spielberg, isn't she? So she must have
So
been
she
around.
could. Yeah. What? Yeah.
She could have popped up.
They should have had Short Round. Turned out to be one of the
Villains.
Russian guards driving
Yeah.
the jeep because he was a good driver. Short Round.
Yeah. Well, no. Why not have Chinese villains or Asian villains, and it's Short Round?
Oh,
yeah.
Short Round's the lead of the villains.
Betrayed him all along. Okie
Oh my
dokie,
God, that'd be
Mr.
brilliant.
Jones. No okie dokie.
And that's how he knows. Like he goes, okie dokie,
Yeah.
Mr. Joe. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Short Round's back.
Yeah. This is also.
Go on.
No, I was going to say this is also during this whole stage. What makes it worse is this whole Ray Winston. Jonesy, I'm a double agent, innit? I told you, I told you, I'm a Jonesy. And you're just like, but even if that, it's not. Number one, it doesn't matter because who cares? Because the Russians keep finding them anyway. And
Yeah, his whole nothing about it. The only thing he does in the whole film is lay a tracking thing down, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the only thing of consequence he does. Yeah.
No, he's just awful, and I don't know why they give him too much screen time. Almost, I don't know why. I don't know why he's even in it this much. Yeah, he's not like Oxley, that is an important person to push
Yeah.
the plot on. He's completely useless. He's not even funny. He's not even a funny
No, he's
character. Yeah. Anyway.
He is to Americans.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah. Maybe just his voice is.
Chris, were you going to say something about? You got something about the?
Well, I was just thinking of like how classy the original one was with nothing. Like how when the original, little gags of like when they went to the Temple of Doom and they were like trying to have dinner and just like all the it's procession of gags and really really good and iconic. And now it's just layer upon layer of CG crap.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think of like Ray's Lost Ark, that classic scene with the guy doing all the sword stuff on the under the
yeah.
and when he gets on the airship, not much really happening, is there? But it's just so.
Well, this is
Tightly scripted.
the Phantom Menace of Indiana Jones, isn't it? This.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
they
it is.
didn't learn the
it's-
lessons of.
No, totally. Yeah. Well, I think they've learnt the wrong lessons, haven't they? They've learnt the lesson of because
They
Phantom
came
Menace.
out of it thinking that everyone wanted more CG.
Well, no, I think they've come out with like so Phantom Menace tries to start its own story, doesn't it? Like very separate to the old trilogy, and that is a failure. So Attack of the Clones and stuff like that gets closer to the old. Revenge of the Sith especially gets close to the old Star Wars. Indiana Jones thinks, oh, no one like Phantom Menace doing a new story, so we double down on the old story and just do everything all over again.
Yeah.
And that, as you say, is what all films are doing now. All these remakes, it's just the same film over and over again. That's Indiana Jones' fault. Anyway, yeah. So we go down the jungle, we go down the waterfall, which is, they do it 3 times, don't they? And
Yeah.
you just sit there thinking, are you literally just taking the piss now? This idea of like they're invincible, so let's just chuck them down 3
there was
waterfalls.
that gag in the first film, wasn't there? So
What's the one in the first film?
they would go down the waterfall in a raft, don't they? In the first one.
I've forgotten that.
Yeah, me too.
That's what the gag is.
Oh, God.
Oh right, okay. Oh, now there's 3. Oh, right, okay.
Just before that, the ants are terrible.
Oh, sorry, yes, the ants. Was that before? Is that before that?
But the ants made me write down something which is really, really awful about this film, is that there's a scene where the ants try to take his hat away, and he gets his hat back, and the Indiana Jones theme plays, and it made me realise that they, all the way through the film, for completely pointless moments, they just play the Indiana Jones theme. For things that, there's not because they're particularly impressive things, they just seem to, like, every so often, oh, hey everyone, here's the indie theme, like...
Don't forget.
It's really, really annoying, and it actually kind of completely ruins that theme, because it just seems to be played... Oh, look, he's hit someone, I'll play the theme. Oh, he's fallen on his arse. Oh, he's escaped to the fridge.
But they don't
it's just
play any
everywhere.
like the nuanced parts of the music, like the,
No,
No.
it's just the big bit, isn't it? It's just the big... That's it. But anyway, the ants one is a particularly low moment of using the Indiana Jones theme.
That is, yeah.
Yeah,
This-
and then
this
that
thi-
man
this
is just
pile of sea
horrifically murdered by ants. Like, horrifically.
Yeah, the Russians get their numbers thinned by the ants.
Yeah.
But Kate Blanchett just about gets away.
I started to feel a bit sorry for Kate Blanchett at this point, because a lot of her men die during these scenes. Like you say, they seem to, Indy and his mates, there's too many characters, they all seem invulnerable, they're not going to get hurt. But she's lost quite a lot of people by this point. I felt a bit like, oh.
I just don't. I mean, it's like such a caricatured character. I couldn't even like. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
feel
No.
anything.
You don't. Also, there's not really... The thing they're actually after isn't... Because you don't really know at this point why they're after the thing they're after, do you? That she wants ultimate power. And so when this happens, you just think, you've got the tracking bugs down, just go home, go in and get some rest, bring some more people back. You
Get
know,
some rest. Go get
don't worry about it.
At the beginning of Raiders, it was clearly said that if Hitler gets hold of the Ark of the Covenant,
Yeah.
the Nazis
Yeah.
will be invincible.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got
Why are they
things to-
doing it? Yeah, why are they doing it? What's
Well, in the last minute, she said she wants ultimate power, doesn't she? But, like, I don't know how she has come to the conclusion that's what she'll get by looking into the alien's eyes.
No, it's...
What is the... all they know is that there's a spaceship's crashed somewhere and there's some dead bodies. They don't know anything of it. And that they had a city of gold at some point.
Yeah.
But she's not there for the gold. She's there for the knowledge, which we don't know why she's there. Anyway, before we get to that, one little bit on the way there. So the waterfall happens. They go through another, like, very 80s, like, small set of a cave where there's this race of people protecting the Gold City who apparently live within the walls. Remember this bit where they, like, break out of, like, the polystyrene concrete?
Yeah.
So what's the deal there? Are they, like, been waiting there for thousands of years?
It's weird. Yeah, it's.
Do they like,
we're in a
every
realm
day...
of anything
like-
can happen now.
Also,
I like to think that they live their life in the day, and at the end of the day, they go and, like, wall themselves back up again, just in case. Is that what's...
but don't they say also that Oxley had taken a skull from there and then taken it and then... Or don't they try and say he'd taken it and then brought it back again already? Or something?
The what? Sorry, you're breaking up then.
The skull, sorry, don't they say that Oxley had already got the skull and he took it to the temple, but then he brought it back again and hid it again?
Oh yeah,
They
that's
never
why he's gone
really-
mad.
Yeah, they never really explain that either.
Because that's the return, isn't it? He keeps saying return through the film,
Yeah.
doesn't he? And they want the skull returned.
Yeah.
But I also don't get, though, because when that skull gets returned, that's when they can fly off, isn't it? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I
I
guess.
think so. Yeah.
So the skull
That's like
couldn't have
the
been there,
key,
could
the
it?
ignition key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God knows. Yeah,
Strangely.
so basically that's the end, is that they get there, and there's this room full of aliens, and they put a skull on an alien, and... Like the initial crystal sort of skull aliens aren't that bad, are they? But when it all like joins up and you get the CG grey, sort of like looming at the camera,
Yeah.
it's a bit like when you go to like a science museum, they do those like 4D CG like things like we're going down on Titanic or whatever. It was a bit like that, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
Really quite poor.
Well,
very poor.
the big reveal is that aliens are archaeologists. That's what they were. Wasn't
yes,
it?
collecting stuff. Yeah,
Collecting stuff. And Ray Winston likes gold, so he dies because he likes gold too much.
yeah. I mean,
And-
but before he dies, though, he goes because Indiana Jones reaches out his hand. And he goes, "Give me your hand," and he goes, "Jonesy, I'm gonna be okay." But what does he mean? Because he knows at that point he's not dead, and they cut back again. And he's still trying to get Indiana Jones' hand. So why is that line there? Why is he saying that? There's no.
Maybe he was a quadruple alien, an agent and he was actually an alien all along, and that's the bit you don't see. But also, Kate Blanchett is greedy for knowledge, and she gets the knowledge, and the alien gives her a really horrible look, and her head explodes. And it's not explained who the aliens are, or why they hate Kate Blanchett, or communists, or
why,
anything,
like,
really, or
wanting
why.
knowledge. Why is the quest of knowledge a bad thing?
Yeah, there's no explanation.
Yeah,
no explanation
why is her comeuppance? Because the comeuppance makes sense in the Ark Covenant because he wants like total destruction, power, and sort of stuff. That's why.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got their comeuppance for a reason. Her comeuppance, yeah, she's been a bit bad on the way there, but really, the ants killed all her dudes. She's not actually killed anyone.
No.
And all she wants is a bit of knowledge, and she dies.
Yeah. Did you know that
She has got a sword? Yeah, just a bit of fencing.
the Communist Party of the Russian Federation called for a ban on this film, accusing the production of demonising the Soviet Union. A party official said in 1957 the USSR was not sending terrorists to America, but sending the Sputnik satellite into space. Spielberg responded, "When we decided the fourth instalment would take place in 1957, we had no choice but to make the Russians the enemy. World War II had just ended and the Cold War had begun. The US didn't have any other enemies at the time." Brilliant. So basically, it's your fault, Russia, because you're the only ones we could pick.
Yeah.
I couldn't have made someone up. I could make up aliens, but I can't make up a
Or
villain.
just not set it in 1957.
Yep. No, sorry, Russia.
Or not done aliens. Or done anything, literally anything else other than what you did.
Yeah,
basically.
basically.
They were stuck with an old Harrison Ford, though, weren't they? So they had to kind of make it a certain period of time.
I suppose, yeah. When
Yeah,
it got,
I guess.
But it could have been like, I don't know.
They could have fudged it
Whatever
a
you're going to
bit.
do, you're going to demonise someone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Nazis are so good for film work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't get the Nazis complaining that they looked particularly bad in Indiana Jones.
No, they actually like the films.
Yeah. So the spaceship takes off, and that's why it's in this list, because we see a UFO take off, and it's definitely aliens. And earlier on, Alex, you said how Spielberg saved Lucas from the fridge thing. Here's Lucas. Here's Spielberg speaking to Empire about the spaceship. "I sympathise with people who didn't like the MacGuffin, the spaceship, because I never liked the MacGuffin. George and I had big arguments about it. I didn't want these things to be aliens or interdimensional beings, but I'm loyal to my best friend. When he writes a story and he believes in it, even if I don't believe in it, I'm going to shoot it the way he envisioned it."
Oh my! What has Lucas got on Spielberg? Like that is. So he's willing to make an absolutely terrible film. Well, it's not even just a film, is it? It's a much loved franchise and character. You're willing to ruin the whole thing just because George Lucas says, "I want aliens in it."
Yeah. I don't know if I remember that like this film was a long, long time in the making, and like a lot of the internet scuttlebutt at the time was about how Lucas had got this great idea, and that the only reason they kept trying to make it was because his idea was so good. And like in hindsight, how weird is that? That like this that alien thing, they couldn't come up with anything else.
Yeah.
And at that time must be Spielberg going, "No, come on, George, anything else, anything." And
Did you read about all the other names that the film was given?
no.
So to distract, because there was a huge amount of secrecy around it.
Oh right, yes, yeah.
So to distract investigative fans from the film's title, during the filming, 5 fake titles were registered with the Motion Picture Association of America, including. So they're all going to be Indiana Jones. So Indiana Jones and the City of Gold. Oh, Indiana Jones and the City of Gods. Indiana Jones, the Destroyer of Worlds. Indiana Jones, the Fourth Corner of the Earth, and Indiana Jones, the Lost City of Gold. And finally, the Indiana Jones and the Quest for the Covenant. However, the script drafts of this film were called Indiana Jones and the Saucer Men, Indiana Jones and the Atomic Ants, Indiana Jones and the Son of Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones and the Mysterians, which is a Japanese film 1957, which Spielberg wanted the aliens to be called, but realised he couldn't really get away with it because it's another film.
The Mysterons.
Well, yeah, it's Mysterins, so it's kind of Mysterons, isn't it? But yeah, Indiana Jones and the Son of Indiana Jones. That would have been a brilliant title. But yeah, all the scripts had different names. There's been 3 major drafts. I think it was. There's a hell of a lot of different rewrites for it, basically.
And they were making Indy 5 now, aren't they? That is apparently Spielberg's film after. I think he's doing West Side Story or something. Then he's making Indy 5.
I think they should get Chris Pratt in and just start again.
Yeah. I don't know what. I mean, they just can't make it like this. It can't be this, can it? I mean, this is so terrible.
Do either of you remember the computer game Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis?
No.
an
No.
adventure game from the early 90s, which had a brilliant story about him going to fight Atlantis and going to Greece and things like this. And it was all. And I just think they should just adapt that because that's like another Indiana Jones film in a game form.
It does sound good.
It's really good. Right, well, yeah. So I think we know our opinions on this.
Childhood
We all,
ruined.
yeah. It's a shame we have to watch it again, but it's out of the way now.
Yeah.
Where do we rank
Low.
this? And you know what's the worst thing as well is that we can't watch the other three because they're not science fiction.
No, we can't even cleanse our
Not even
palate.
if the
No.
universe is.
I don't think so because there's no like.
No.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. No, it's just this one. Low. Really
so-
low.
Chris, where are you going to say for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Let's have a look. Somewhere down by. Probably 75, somewhere like that, I'd say. Something like
So Deep Blue Sea, Day After Tomorrow.
that. Yeah.
Alex,
Near Transformers, so like 85.
85. Oh, bloody
Yeah,
hell.
no, because this goes back to this whole like just like destroying things I loved, and I just think
Yeah.
there's no. They're competent
okay.
film, mate. It's not even a well made. I found myself thinking this isn't even a very well directed film. I don't think it. Watching Jurassic Park 2, that was a very. You thought, well, this is quite well directed. It's not very. It's not amazing, but there's good action, good pacing. This isn't paced well at all. It's actually not very well, and the
And there's
CG
no,
looks
like-
crap. The settings aren't very
There's
good.
whole scenes where it's just done in daylight, and it would be much better
Yeah.
if it was done a little bit more moody. Or
It's
There's
just-
nothing Spielberg about it, is there, Ivor? There's
No.
no like. You couldn't point to this and go, "This is a Spielberg film," could you? Other than the
No,
subject matter,
not
obviously.
like War of the Worlds, which had a few moments in it, which I thought, oh no, this is really interesting and really well done.
There's nothing clever about any of the framing or how things start or end.
no,
like,
it's just
how
different
shot.
colour palettes, isn't it? It's like, oh, we're in the desert, it's yellow. We're in a jungle, it's green. We're in a temple, it's brown. Like,
I think they even put that out there
They're in a
because, like,
fridge, it's black.
you know at the start when they're in like the school and stuff, and everything's got that awful like oversaturated bloom effect, hasn't it? Which, if you think, I think he's trying to emulate the look of those first films, isn't he? But
Yeah.
like even that has got this tinge of like After Effects on it and stuff like that. It's horrific, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you could literally just go out and film that and just leave it, and you'd get a better looking film, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's,
No, low.
I was
reckon-
thinking 80 because Superman 4 is 79, and that's another awful fourth thing in a saga. But the difference being the early Superman films aren't very good, whereas Indiana Jones they were good. So, but yeah, so
I don't
we've got
think-
85, 80, and 75. We've got. Is that
I
the
don't
same?
think it's as imaginative as Theodore Rex. I think Theodore Rex had a good central idea, and this isn't,
Yeah.
or at least an interesting idea. Oh wow, it had an idea that I thought, whoa, where are they going to go with this? But I think the idea of this was, it's just rubbish, and they didn't even believe in it themselves, like you just said. It's
No. Should we say 82? Because I think, like, Man's Best Friend
you hate that film so
Yeah,
much.
that's
and The Colony and Divergent,
okay,
like that is
okay.
a real shit show there, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, all right.
And I like
That's
the
low
idea
enough.
of Jonathan Frakes' Thunderbirds being higher than.
Yeah,
Indiana
I'm all
Jones.
right with that. That's okay.
Right, so there we go. Finally ranked after all this time, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's a needlessly wordy title as well.
Yeah,
Joins the list at 82, so you revised your opinion from that early blog, as have I was also apparently really into it.
yeah.
God knows what we were hepped up on.
I don't
in that
know.
screening.
we were just wrong.
Yeah,
You're on drugs.
young and wrong.
Yeah. We were probably a bit drunk, as I said before. But
It was very sunny as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we were probably quite hyper. And
Yeah.
I think it was a Friday, wasn't it, as well? So we were
Yeah.
out of work and,
Yeah. It was a bit. It was. I think I'd written that it was like really packed cinema. Everyone was buzzing, and that. Do you remember that
Yeah.
cinema? It was a Scotiabank. It had those. Didn't have a Klingon warbird hanging from the ceiling.
It did, yeah. And wonderfully, the seats were very, like, steep, weren't they? You had a
Yeah.
great view, yeah.
So I think it was the
Basically,
experience.
It was a perfect storm.
Exactly, it was a good experience,
Completely.
and it was. Yeah. We made the film better.
Right, well, that's ranked. Let's go and have a word with our future past selves to see what we're watching next week. Hi, Alex. Let us know from the past future about what we're watching next week.
We're watching
Think.
Westworld next week, and
Whoa.
yeah,
The
and
popular HBO television series.
No, fuck that noise. It's not
Wow.
that thing. It's the 1973 film that's based on, which is far better. Not that I've seen the TV series, but
Please give us
Yeah.
a synopsis.
well, I didn't. Chris is going to love this. I didn't write a synopsis, so I'm going to have to make one up
Whoa.
off the top of my head.
Oh my god.
So,
Yeah.
Westworld is a 1973 film, and as far as I can remember, it's set in the future, and there's this planet, I think it's a planet, and on the planet are different zones, and you go there on holiday, and there's a cowboy zone, and there's a Roman zone, definitely, and then there's one other zone I can't remember. And anyway, this guy goes to the cowboy planet, and Yul Brynner, the famous actor from The King and I, and also lots of westerns, he is one of the robot cowboys, and he goes nuts. Not spoilers. And it kind of turns into like the Terminator, really. And that's Westworld.
Have we all seen Westworld?
No,
Yes.
No.
No.
wow.
Oh,
not
Chris.
seen it. No,
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Okay, you're in for a treat, I
Fantastic.
think.
I've not seen a lot of things.
I'd like to just rate your preview there. Chris has got them down because you made too many references to the fact you couldn't remember stuff, whereas Chris just blags it all the way
Yeah,
through.
it's true. Sorry. Well, yeah, okay.
Too honest, but you know,
Too honest.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, how was that, Chris? How was it, Chris?
Yeah, it was all right.
Did you prefer that it was more organic?
You're sort of horning in my area now, though, because
Oh, you don't like it when I don't
Mine-
read.
I do it for comedy effect,
Okay,
and you're basically just nicking my jokes.
okay. I'll
a
be
bit-
more prepared. Maybe not next time,
Because
but
it
the
only
time
works
after.
if someone else is prepared.
Yeah, I'll try and be more prepared. Maybe not next time, but the time after.
Okay.
Which is about like 6 weeks in the future, I think, isn't
Yeah.
it, in terms of the listening public? But, yeah, because it's getting so confusing. Right, so let's watch the trailer for Westworld.
Let's see if I got the zones right. It's definitely a Roman one, or is it ancient Greece? Oh,
Sounds
maybe
like
ancient
Crystal
Greece.
Maze.
Your attention, please. We will soon be landing at Westworld, the ultimate resort.
We have you on grid 5, over.
It consists of 3 worlds of the past.
Locking in now.
Worlds where you can live out your every fantasy. There's Roman world, the lusty, decadent delights of imperial Pompeii.
Notify ground crews.
Medieval world, chivalry and combat in 13th century Europe. And Westworld, lawless violence on the American frontier of 1880.
Bacon, cinnamon.
For you,
That
for
weird, like,
you.
fake echo at the end there.
I think I got it quite right. Most of the plot.
Yeah.
I like how they got Yul Brynner.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
know,
yeah.
do you know who directed this, Chris, and wrote it, in fact?
No.
Michael Crichton.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
of Jurassic Park fame.
I knew that because I
There's-
did the research.
There's a lot of parallels here, isn't there? Like, it's a theme park, goes wrong.
Yeah.
One trick pony,
definitely.
perhaps. Oh no, he did.
Trust in reliable computers that can never.
Yeah, it's a guy with a moustache. No, hold on.
I haven't seen this, but I get the feeling I've seen all the holodeck episodes of Star Trek, and I feel like a lot of ground will be covered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I remember really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I've not seen it for many years, but yeah, good film. It reminds me of, have you seen Coma?
No.
Another Michael Crichton film from very similar
Oh yeah,
era, where they're like keeping people's bodies like in suspended animation. Like
Oh, that sounds good.
they're like, that's a really good film. Anyway, yeah, so cool. So join us next week where we'll be watching Westworld. For now, back to Future Us. And we're back to the present past here, which is now, and
this is gonna go tits up.
there's be trailers flying around. Sam's talking to Sam's. Before we go, Alex, let us know what is going on in the world of social media.
Okay, so Twitter is SF Rating System, Instagram is Science Fiction Rating System, Facebook is FFSF Rating System. You can email us at sciencefictionratingsystem@gmail.com. One film now, it's not 3 films, just send us a film any film you like, but not
And a
Indiana
reason.
Jones. Oh, and a reason, yeah. More reason, the more likely it'll get picked
Yeah.
or read out, yeah. More detail you put in, the more we're going to want to do it. And the website, which is a nice website, I think it's a lovely website, is sciencefictionratingsystem.com. And we're on, what are we on? iTunes, YouTube, Podmatic,
Spotify,
yeah,
Stitcher,
all these places. Find
Everywhere.
us, download us.
I've
Thank
just
you.
been told the podcast this week has gone up and is 4 minutes long, so I've got to go fix that now. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Someone just said this week's podcast, it cuts off after 2 minutes 32. So
Oh dear.
I better go
Great,
fix that.
like, quality control department, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instant. Happening
Shout out
now.
to Matt for that. Thanks
Thank
for the
you.
heads up.
Thanks, Matt. Get on that, Sam. Get on it. Go back in time
I'll
and
be on
sort
it.
that out.
I'll go back on time, about 8 weeks, God knows where to. But for now, that's the end. I'll see you all soon. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.